You know that quiet feeling of looking at other people and thinking, why does it work for everyone except me? I thought that for a long time, and I believed my problem, it was discipline. So I did what a lot of people do. I copied methods, I copied routines, I copied habits, I pushed myself harder. I ended up starting over every Monday, and I thought that I was still the problem. And what I'm gonna tell you right now, it's very important, because if you keep believing this, you're gonna be spending years of your life trying to fix something that was never the real problem. If you stay with me until the end of this video, I'm gonna show you something that completely changed the way how I see discipline and made me realize that I was looking for the answer on the wrong place. Because maybe the problem is not discipline, but how we choose to look at it. We do this all the time and we don't even realize it. You take pieces of other people's lives and you try to fit them into yours. The routine, the habits, the way they eat, the way they exercise, the organization, everything. And I hear that a lot, especially from women that are taking different responsibilities. They have the house, they have the kids, they have to work. When they're still trying to take care of themselves and carrying that quiet feeling of, why does it work for everyone except me? Because it feels like there is someone out there with the right answer. If it works for her, maybe I just need to do the same thing. I used to think like that too, but I learned the hard way that life doesn't happen like in a 30-second video. Because while you are watching someone's perfect routine, you are answering text message, you are thinking about dinner, you're listening, telling your dog to shut up, that it's barking to the person outside, putting clothes in the laundry and trying to remember that you didn't drink water yet today. And we look at all that and we start thinking that we are doing something wrong. Today I think like this: discipline doesn't exist to turn me into another person or even turn you into another person. Discipline is there to help me and you to get where we want to go. And this is changing the lens through which we see our habits. I stopped believing that discipline means waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I saw someone, an influencer on the internet, doing it and her life is perfect. Or even watching a vlog here on YouTube and following a ready-made routine. That doesn't work. And you know why? Because people live different lives. It doesn't make sense to expect that someone else's routine is gonna fit on my life. It's not a one-size-fits-all. I learned how to see discipline as a tool, and today this is the lens that I want you to start using it to see your routine and your habits from now on. But pay attention here. A tool itself does not resolve much if you don't understand who is holding it. But first, let me explain you why women over 40 who are independent like me and you, who are decided women, still fall into this trap of copying other people's habits and routines. And I completely understand, because me too, I fell into it for a long time. And until last year, I was still trying to copy other people's habits and routines. You know, copying someone does give you a good feeling, because you look where that person got and you think, I found a way. I thought that many times, but here's the trap. The internet makes it look simple. You see the final result, you see the perfect routine, you see the organization, you see everything working perfectly like an orchestra, but we don't see the rest. We don't see the behind the scenes. We don't see that person's responsibilities. We don't see that person's personalities, energy, time. And there might be something else, because I think that it's much easier to look at other people's lives than actually take the time to look at ours. Paying attention to ourselves, it takes a lot of honesty, because maybe you're gonna find out that that person, that influencer that has the perfect life wakes up at 5 a.m. but you don't like to wake up at 5 a.m. Maybe you're gonna discover that you don't have all that time. Maybe you're gonna discover that you need actually more rest. Maybe you're gonna discover that you're living a pace that it doesn't even fit your life. And I know that because I had to admit that sometimes. You try to keep that routine. You push yourself in the beginning. Maybe you can keep it for a week, maybe even a month, but then reality comes in. knocks your door. And then your thoughts become, why can't I do it? What's wrong with me? And I want you to listen what I'm about to say. Actually, I want you to stop everything that you are doing, open your ears and hear this. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Why I'm saying that? Because we women, we learn to believe that when something doesn't work, it's our fault. It's like putting clothes that they were not made for you. You're the whole day, have you ever put clothes that they don't fit you at all? You're the whole day, you're trying to push, adjust here, push here, try. It's like in the end of the day, you were just tired. For years, I followed influencers that had the perfect routine. I watched 8 habits that you have to drop right now, 5 things that it works for you today. And many times I thought, I'm like, now I hit the jackpot. But last year I read a book. I'm gonna show you. The book, it's a book from a Brazilian author. Unfortunately, there's not in English. I wish there was, but it's called It's Not a Miracle. It's from Joel Jota. And in this book, he brings a very interesting concept about discipline. He brings discipline as a tool, not as an obligation. He proposes changing the question from how can I have more discipline to what can discipline do for me. That's when I realized that I was looking discipline through the wrong lenses. I was treating discipline as an obligation, and I think maybe you were too. If you were, let me know in the comments, because I think, I don't know, 100% of the people that I've spoke to talk about discipline as if it's an obligation. But how he proposed we change the question, it was what completely changed the direction of my thinking. Because when you ask what discipline can do for you, it stops becoming a punishment and it becomes something that can actually help you. And if you want to go from point A to point B, I don't think that the first question should be, what habits do I need to have? I think the first question needs to be who I want to become. Maybe you want someone who wants more energy. Maybe you want someone who wants to age strong. Maybe you want to be someone who takes a better care of herself. Then after you understand who you want to become, then yes, it comes the question of, what does that version of me do? One of the things that I realized is that I want to age well. I want to age strong. I wanted to be independent when I'm like 80, 90. So this is the person who I want to become. And then I listed the habits of what that version of me does. Like your habits, your routine, they're there to serve a bigger purpose. I've rehearsed this word so many times. I can't say it. I'm originally Brazilian. I live in Canada. I'm fine with English, but some words I just can't say it. Purpose. You understood. I'm gonna leave it as it is. That's when waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, yes, I know. I get a lot of like, what, 4 o'clock? That's when waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning made sense to me, because I get to wake up before my dogs are awake, before Michael, my fiance, is awake, before the notifications they start. I get to read my books, I get to go to the gym and exercise for the time that I wanted to exercise. I get to write my journal. So I do all that before work. And for me, that makes sense. I really feel that my habits, my routine, they are serving a bigger purpose. I can't. Now, you cannot just take what I told you and copy to yourself, because you are someone else entirely. You're living a different life. Maybe you just had a baby recently. Maybe you're still waking up in the middle of the night to breastfeed. Maybe you went to bed later preparing lunch for the next day, and then you have to wake up earlier, prepare your kids to go to school. You can't just take what someone else is doing and try to fit in your life. First is identity. Second, the habits, and then discipline comes last, because discipline will not create the path for you. Discipline is there to help you keep walking when the motivation goes away. Discipline is the tool, not the obligation. Look, there is a huge difference between admiring a life and needing to live that life. Have you ever thought that maybe the final goal It's just for us to pay a little bit more attention to ourselves. Because when you do that, you stop running after every habit, every perfect routine, and you start asking yourself, does that make sense to my life? Do I really want this? Or maybe I just like the idea. But also, I do not want to sell this as something easy, because knowing yourself, having self-awareness requires responsibility. I had to stop blaming the method, blaming the routine, blaming the poor influencer that had nothing to do with it, blaming the lack of motivation, and really starting asking myself, what does it really work for me, for my real life? And you know what? The answer actually takes time, and that's okay, because figuring it out is actually part of the process, but now you know what to do to get there. You know what? Take a pen and a paper, write it down. Who is the person that I want to become? And then you're gonna make a list of habits of what you're gonna think, that person that I want to become, what are the habits that this person, what do they do? And then you're gonna list those habits, and then you're gonna try to make those habits fit on your routine. If it doesn't fit them all, that's okay. You have to start going to that direction. And in a year, you can review it. Maybe in a year, your life is gonna be totally different, and you wanna become someone else. You know, life is in constant movement. There's no point of making our routine rigid. Now I want to know, starting today, what question you're gonna start asking yourself. How can I get more discipline? Or what can discipline do for me? And before you go, thank you so much for staying with me until the end. If this kind of conversation made sense to you, subscribe to my channel, because I want to continue this journey with you, and I don't want you to miss the next videos. See you in the next one.